Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of What Boxing 101 podcast, coming to you by way of the installations of Warrior's Edge Boxing Gym / Promotions. I am your host, Luis Trevino, also known as Tree. And we have a decent show for you guys today, a pretty good show today. We're not going to have a co-host today in lieu of Holy Week. We took a break off as far as our guest, but we'll be back next week with our guest and our questions and hot topics and all kinds of stuff. Some of the upcoming guests that will highlight the show in the upcoming months will be some big names in the sport of boxing, both professional and amateur. So we are ready for that, and we just wanted to let you guys know that stay tuned for big shows upcoming. Today on the show, folks, we're going to be talking about last week's fights, professional, the upcoming pro fights, and our hot topic today on our live chat channel will be what makes a good coach. We wanted to discuss that. People had requested it, talk a little bit about the coaching aspects of boxing, of all the sports, and we wanted to do that. So that's important. I mean, you see what makes a good coach. And again, if you want to chat with us, guys, go to our YouTube page and just chat with us. You know, let us know what's on your mind, what's going on in your gyms, etc., etc., etc. So, folks, let's get you started. And with the first thing I got for you guys in the agenda tonight is Warrior's Edge Boxing is going racing in 2019. Driver of the Sure Racing number 21 Texas Sprint Car under the American Sprint Car Series, sponsored by Western Technical College, and Warrior's Edge Boxing is racing this season. The racing season starts May through November at the new Vado Speedway Park in Vado, New Mexico. Again, we're big race fans here at the gym. Me and my family, some of my friends, and Brandon, a good friend of ours now. We used to go to the El Paso Speedway Park and see racing, and it's whole way different. It's different than boxing, way different sport. But nevertheless, we would be out there and enjoying a good night of racing. In all kinds of, to modifies. But when the sprints came to town, that was something. It's the world of outlaws. And if you've never seen the sprints, guys, you better go out there and let's cheer on Brandon Shure. Again, the number 21 Texas Sprint Car. It's the world of outlaws this year. Warrior's Edge Boxing going racing in 2019. We are very proud to be on board of this team. And you know what? Just helping out. That's just what we wanted to do. We want to help Brandon, again, go out this season to support him. I will hopefully have him on my show in future podcasts. We talk about the car, have the car on display. But that's what I wanted to get to first. We are going racing in 2019. Brandon Shure, driver of the number 21 American Sprint Car Series, again, sponsored by Western Technical College, Warrior's Edge Boxing Gym Promotion. And the racing season starts already in May. It's around the corner, ready to go, and it lasts through November at the Vado Speedway Park. And I think from what they've told me, that racetrack is almost done. It's a pretty good dirt track. And you know what? They closed the El Paso Speedway one, and the one in Las Cruces are closed, getting ready in lieu of this big one that's going to be up and running pretty soon. I mean, it's around the corner, so that's going to be awesome to see. And go, folks, and we'll be discussing more dates and all that. Well, let's get into boxing, right? This is what the boxing's all about. I do want to welcome everybody. If you're on live streaming, chatting, hello everybody. Welcome to the show on this Thursday, and I hope you're having a good Thursday. In lieu of the Holy Week coming up this weekend, and hopefully everybody has good plans for Easter and are going to get together with family and enjoy. And you know what? Speaking of this weekend, we got some big shows, big boxing this weekend. It promises to be another good boxing weekend. Like I said in my last podcast, there's some good fights coming all the way here till June. We got some stacked cards and undercards as well. Terence Crawford versus Amir for the WBO Welterweight title is coming up this weekend. That's going to be on ESPN pay-per-view. I guess I don't know how you get ESPN pay-per-view. I guess you got a call. It's streamed. I do not know if you know. Please send us the chat and tell us how to get it. But it is on ESPN pay-per-view. I've never seen a pay-per-view fight on ESPN, but this one will be Terence Crawford versus Amir Khan. We'll talk a little bit about it as we go on, and this is going to be for the WBO welterweight title. Another fight this weekend is going to be Danny Swift Garcia versus Adrian Granados. Fan favorite. I think he's fan favorite. Adrian Granados. He's a good guy, very humble guy. This is going to be a welterweight contest, and this is going to be on Fox. Again, this Saturday. There's also going to be a heavyweight fight on that one. It's going to be Andy Reese versus Alexander Dimitrenko, right? And that's going to be on Fox. That should be a good card as well. The Zone will also have a pair of heavyweights. It's going to be Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown, and Derek Chisora versus Sanit Gashi. Derek Chisora, big heavyweight. That's also going to be interesting to see this weekend. So for your Easter weekend, we got a stacked card, and that's going to be awesome as well. And as we go along, the Zone will have more fights. And guys, we're going to be getting you ready for May 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs. All the title belts are on the line. The WBA, WBC, IBF middleweight titles are on the line. That's going to be the May the 4th title fight. And we'll be talking about that as we get closer to the show. So stay tuned for those. And we got a big card this upcoming weekend. Well, let's talk about last weekend. Did you guys see the Munguia fight? I'll tell you, Munguia barely beats Hogan to retain WBO title. Munguia even thought it was a draw. You know, guys, I don't want to say it's robbery, but it was a very close fight. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but it was a very close fight. I mean, I didn't see Munguia being very dominant. I saw him; he's a good fighter, but not a dominant fighter. I wonder what he lacks. I don't know. I mean, does he lack another coach? Alcantara is not cutting it. He's not listening to his coach. I know Coach Alcantara was telling him several instructions, and he failed. He wasn't doing it. Munguia barely won. The WBO Junior Middleweight World Champion Jaime Munguia scores a close 12-round majority decision over the challenger Dennis Hogan. And you know, I tip my hat off to Dennis Hogan. I know, man, he came out here to fight, man. At first, we didn't know who he was. We even mentioned him in my last podcast. But this guy came out. He traveled, and he came out to win. And he thought he won. I mean, it was a stellar performance in Monterrey. And then he came in Munguia's backyard to fight. Yes, Munguia was the aggressor. If you saw Munguia in the entire fight, Munguia was the aggressor. He was pressing forward like every Mexican fighter does, and that's why we love them. But Hogan was very agile. He avoided a lot of Munguia's shots. I mean, Munguia would try to do those haymakers, and that's, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if that was what he should do, but he was throwing some vicious haymakers, and Munguia was missing. And Hogan was very agile. And you know, clearly, folks, when the fight started, you can see Hogan clearly didn't look like Munguia. And we thought, it's going to be finishing early. I was one of them, you know, I kind of admit it. We were sitting there, and I go, this fight's going to finish early. Hurry up when we change it to the Shields fight. But it didn't, guys. Hogan was very agile, like I said, and he was countering Munguia. He was countering Munguia's strong punches. Or big punches. He was countering them. You know, the scores at the end of the day were 115, 113. Okay. 116 to 112. There was a 114 to 114. That was good. That 116, 112, man, I don't know about that. That was clearly off. And again, that's where even Hogan said that's what hurts boxing. Was it fixed? Was it I don't know. I mean, that judge that scored it 116 to 112 was obviously off. I didn't see it that separate. I really saw it as a draw, to be honest with you, giving Munguia the benefit of the doubt, because people say that if you're gonna beat the champion at his home, you gotta knock him out. But man, I tell you, if you didn't see the fight, man, it's on DAZN right now. See it. Hogan did everything that he could to stop Munguia, and unfortunately, he didn't do enough to the judges. There was a judge that scored it 116 to 112, right? I clearly won the fight, said Munguia afterwards. If you saw the interview, he said, I clearly won the fight. I was always attacking, and yes, he was right. He was the aggressor. Connected with the harder shots. Yes, he did. He missed a lot of the times. Like I said, Hogan was agile. And he said if he wants the rematch, I'll give it to him. And he says he even travels to Australia. I think he feels like that because he probably does feel that he lost. I don't know. I mean, it was going to be a tough contest for Munguia to actually lose in Monterrey, folks. It was just going to be tough for him to lose, and he wasn't going to lose, right? Dennis Hogan said, I won the fight. He says, I knew I won the fight. I'm really disappointed, and he should be, right? He trained very hard. And again, it was a majority decision loss to Munguia, right? And he said, and I'm going to quote what he said. He said he came in good faith, no disrespect to the people who scored it, but that decision shouldn't go through. This is bad for boxing. Folks, what do you think? Is it bad for boxing? This is a very bad for boxing, bad for me. Any rematch is accepted right away, no questions asked. You saw the game plan. It was keep moving and land more shots. Every time I knew I was doing that, his power didn't faze me at all because I'm moving, rolling with the punches, doing what I was doing. He also said that he's a great fighter, but clearly in the eyes of everybody and myself, I won. I wasn't even worried that much. And again, he said no disrespect, but I could take his shots, and I was landing more. And he was right. He said, go to get CompuBox to properly count the punches. You'll see I was winning the fight. CompuBox, this showed Munguia with more punches, even power punches, but Munguia missed a lot. And I don't know if you can clearly say it's bad for boxing, but it should have been a draw. And I mean, that was murder if it was going to be a draw, right? I think the people would have been very, very bad. So do you think that, I think boxing is very influential with the judges there, and that arena was popping. It was rocking hardcore. And man, that 116, 112, maybe that judge got influenced by all the crowd there, and he was going to say, look, I don't want to be that judge that scores to the challenger from Australia in a Mexican city. I myself, guys, I clearly saw a draw. And if Hogan would have won the fight, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think he deserved, and I think he would have edged the fight, and I would have been fine, right? But clearly, Munguia for a 116, 112, I don't think so. I don't pretend to know boxing that to be an expert in it, but as a fan, I was watching the fight and I'm learning how to score, and I had to fight a draw, guys. I mean. And yeah, it was influential to my decisions because of Monterrey, the crowd. But yeah, you know what? I don't believe Munguia won the fight. I think it was clearly a closer fight that it could have probably gone a draw as well, right? So see what you're chatting, see what you talk about. In the other channel, Showtime, you had Clarissa Shields, right? The undisputed middleweight champion of the world, and no doubt, it was a good fight, right? She, the 24-year-old from Flint, Michigan, native, delivered the best performance of her career, right? She pretty much cruised his way to the unanimous decisions for Christina Hammer, and I thought Christina Hammer was going to be a little bit more of competition for her. And arguably it was the most significant women's boxing match in history. And if you saw the pictures of Clarissa Shields with all those belts, it's pretty impressive. The judges scored the fight 98-92, and two of them had it 98-91, and that was good. She's the two-time Olympic gold medalist, right? She holds, folks, the IBF, WBA, and the WBC 160-pound titles, right? She has an arsenal of skills and dominating performance. She is just so dominating. Clarissa Shields is dominating. She has showed in the past some glass jaw. She got knocked down once. But you know what's so awesome, guys, for a female that now she joins the ranks of Terence Crawford, Jermaine Taylor, and the women's welterweight Cecilia Brækhus as the only fighters to have unified all 4 major world titles in any weight class. To mention another one, Bernard Hopkins was one of them. Right? Is that cool or what? That is so awesome to be in that category with those fighters. Right? That's pretty impressive, guys. My hats off goes to Clarissa Shields. Christina Hammer owned the WBO belt, but I mean, to no avail. I mean, it was obviously Clarissa Shields' night. It was just a night for women's boxing, and you know what? And she's a real outspoken person, and I think she's great for boxing. She even said, "I am the greatest woman of all time." I think my hats off goes to her. I've actually enjoyed all her fights, and I've enjoyed what we have seen out of women's boxing. And my hats off goes to the television stations, Showtime, for airing these fights. So I think that's pretty awesome. It speaks volumes of them, and that was awesome. Clarissa Shields, awesome work for you guys as well. So moving right along, for future fights, right? For future fights this weekend, we got some big ones, folks. We got some big fights this weekend, and we'll just get right into it. Big fights coming up. We got the Granados Garcia fight. How about that, folks? And that's going to be on Fox, like I said. Former 2-division champion Danny Swift Garcia, and of course the big welterweight contender Adrian Granados. I've always liked this kid. Very personable, very nice. They had their workout media yesterday. As again, the main event will be on Saturday night, and it's going to be in Carson City, California, and now it's called the Dignity Health Sports Park. And you know where it's going to be held at? It's at Carson City, where great fights have been made. Great fights. Great fights. I mean, historic venue for fights, and it's going to be there. It's going to be outdoors, ready to go at Carson City. These both guys I think it's going to be a great fight. Danny Garcia was quoted as, you watch Danny Garcia fights, you know I'm always swinging, trying to knock people out. And it's just true. Danny Garcia is an exciting fighter. It's going to be great. Good thing about Danny that I've learned as he comes up to this fight is that, hey, man, he's keeping it real. He believes that Granados does have skills, right? But he said he's put in the work in the camp. And the plan, of course, is to knock him out. Danny Garcia wants to look spectacular, especially in that in that awesome venue. He said he's more than ready. Granados says that he knows that Danny's not looking past him. I'm here to interrupt those plans. And of course, Granados says I have my own plans. I'm going to catapult myself where I belong. This is going to be a big fight for Granados. Make or break for him. He's a good kid, man. You know, he's a very personable kid, like I said. Very humble kid. And that's what we all look at, these humble kids, right? He is the underdog role. Adrian Granados is an underdog, big time, right? Even though he's a fan favorite, he's an underdog, right? He has pulled off upsets throughout his career. Being the underdog again on Saturday is nothing new to him, and it's never been new. Granados has always been the underdog, right? He says he's going to be and he's going to surprise all the doubters, and he's ready to go, right? He's worked hard, very hard. He said that his training camp went well. He trains out of Southern California. He had an excellent preparation, and you know what, folks? He looks great. You know, he's not. You know, in all his other fights, he was actually working full time, and now he's not. Now he's focusing 100%. He was a journeyman management team. He was able to work there, but now he's 100% ready to go, and he looks ready to go. He looks ready to go to fight on Saturday night. So it's going to be a great fight. I mean, I think, like I said, it's going to be an exciting fight, and it's going to be at the historic in Carson City, California. Got to get ready for that, folks. It's going to be good. It is going to be good. I mean, I just can't wait. You know what? I just forgot something. Let me stop there for the future here. How about Lomachenko? Man, I can't believe I forgot that. Lomachenko fought as well on ESPN, and he annihilated Krolla, right? Lomachenko just annihilated Krolla. It was something to see, but also scary. He regained his WBA and WBO. But let me tell you why. I didn't really even. I mean, I like Lomachenko. He's awesome, man. He's a workhorse. There was only one thing I didn't like. I love the fight. It was awesome. It was entertaining. But you clearly saw Krolla was outmatched. If you saw the ref, he had a camera on his bow, on his bow tie, and I don't believe that should be allowed. The fight, because when the fight ended, he connected a near lethal right hook. Let me tell you, folks, I'm not going to say it with apologies. Lethal right hook. And landed above the ear of Krolla. He floored him. He hurt him very bad. The referee started a count, quickly abandoned it with 58 seconds in the fourth round. Right? That was a Lomachenko fight. Right? It was just brutal. So going back to the bow tie, you see the ref have the bow tie, and man, it's great shots, but you see the bow tie focus on the fighter on the floor. That looked pretty gruesome to me, man. That's me. It looked pretty gruesome. To see a fighter hurt so bad, guys, for me, that was gruesome. I don't think we need to see that, man. Well, you know, fight freaks like us, maybe. But other people, man, that are new to the sport or just watching a good fight, that was brutal, guys. I thought he was very hurt. And I know Krolla, I think, announced his retirement. I mean, it was a devastating right hook by the temple. If you didn't see it, Krolla just went down immediately. It was tough. It was a very tough knockout. Impressive nonetheless by the awesome, one of the greatest fighters in the world right now, Lomachenko. My hats go off to him. But going back to the ref, I think that he should have. They shouldn't have those cameras so close like that. We didn't need to see that. If you saw him, he was clearly out. His eyes were rolled, and the camera was right on him, man. I mean, I don't think that was cool. And I know they didn't mean it, but it was tough to watch. It was tough to swallow because you know what, guys? At the end of the day, we want our fighters to be safe. And to see something like that, man, that was tough, guys. To see Krolla get knocked out that bad. So what's next for Lomachenko? Man, he called Luke Campbell. He also called Mikey Garcia. And that's the fights we want to see this year. Hopefully by the end of the year, we see Lomachenko against better opposition. I want to see Lomachenko with better opposition. That'll be something to watch. You know, man, what a performer. But again, I mean, but you know, when I saw him on Friday, just entering that ring, I clearly saw Krolla outmatched. That was just the deal. What a performance by Lomachenko. So it was a good fight week. It was awesome, guys. I really enjoyed it. Live chat right now. Silva says Danny Garcia will KO Granados. Wow. Granados has a tough chin. He's a hard pressing forward fighter. Danny Garcia has struggled in the past with pressing fighters. But yeah, you never know. Danny Garcia has a chance and he might KO him. Silva, do you know what round you think that Garcia will KO Granados? Go ahead and respond again to the chat. If that happens, it might be in the late rounds. I think Danny Garcia will lose. I think it'll be I'm gonna go to the underdog Granados. I think Granados. I'm gonna go on the limb on this one. Let's say Granados by split decision. We'll see. I guess I don't know. He says it's in the 8th round that Danny Garcia will KO Granados in the 8th round. In the late rounds, is it a 12th rounder? Yeah, it is a 12th rounder. Man, the 8th round. That's pretty good. I think it'll go the distance, Silva. But I'm gonna give it to Granados. I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Don't get me wrong. I like swift, but he should be more busy. Granado has nothing to lose. I believe he's still young. I know I said it was a make or break for Granados, but I think it'll go the distance, and Granado hopefully will pull it out. As we're moving right along, how about the Terence Crawford Amir Khan fight? Terence Crawford, guys, if you saw this guy on the weigh-ins, this guy looks ready to go. Man, six-pack and all. If you look at Amir Khan, he looks in shape, but he looks big. I don't know if it was my TV, but I mean, Khan is probably the bigger fighter, but it's going to be a good fight, man. It's going to be a good fight. I know if you've seen Khan, he's been very impressive. What I mean by impressive, he's real fast, right? The talking is over. Crawford is ready for business. He's always ready for business. I just wish we could see Crawford more. Nobody wants to fight him. He will defend his WBO welterweight title. It's going to be at Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be Top Rank promoting it on ESPN pay-per-view. A couple of 2 days away. Terence Crawford said Amir Khan is a great fighter. I can't take nothing away from him. And Amir Khan is a great fighter. He's fought everybody. He's fought a lot of people. I think he's been more busier in the limelight than Crawford. I think the time that I saw Amir Khan with Canelo, man, that's another vicious knockout. That's the last time I saw him. Crawford is, he says that I take nothing away from him. He's done a lot in the sport. He is a big name, and it's going to be a big name for the resume of Crawford. Put another win for Crawford. He's undefeated at the welterweight division, so he said, why not take another step? Amir Khan says that this fight ranks at the top for me because fighting a world champion. And yeah, Terence Crawford is very high in pound-for-pound rankings, maybe number one. He is number one. It's just amazing for me to be in this position once again. So, and again, I think Amir Khan should take full advantage of him. Getting ready for that fight. What do you guys think? I mean, I think Crawford will win. I think Crawford will win by knockout. I'm going out on a limb, and I think he will win by knockout. Amir Khan looks bigger, but man, that Terence Crawford is very good. Again, very agile. He's lethal. He presses forward. Another guy on my list of the best in the world. And I just one thing about this fight, guys, that I hope that Terence Crawford after this gets more busy and we see another fight this year. Fighters don't get busy this time around no more. They don't fight as much. And I've been wanting to see Terence Crawford fight more. And we just don't see him, guys. So I just want Terence Crawford to fight more. I want to see more of him. Just everything is so awesome about him. But I think he'll beat Amir Khan. Amir Khan has the speed, but not the chin. That's Silva writing on the live chat again. One good punch from Crawford and lights out for Khan. I think you're probably talking about the Canelo fight. And you're right. I mean, he has the speed, but does Crawford have the power? And you know what he does? But clearly on the Canelo fight, Canelo had the clear power. He was the much bigger fighter. This was a little bit more even, folks. Amir has all the speed, the showness, the agility, but you're right. I think I'm going to go with you that, boy, I tell you, man, I think that Crawford will catch him and maybe knock him down or hurt him pretty bad. Adrian Pineda says, I agree with Crawford in the 10th round. I guess Crawford will win in the 10th round. Stoppage, TKO, what do you think? Knock him out in the 10th round, Pineda? That's what Adrian Pineda is posting in the 10th round. I guess it's going to finish night early. Crawford is a good fighter, man. He's an excellent fighter. And, yeah, he's a pressing fighter at that weight. That'll be interesting to see, man. The talking's over. There's been a lot of talk, folks, with these two. So I guess the talking's over and it's time to move on and fight. I saw Khan a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, man. I really did. But wow, it's going to be a good fight. So let me see what we have. agreed with. No, that was the other one. So let's move it right along. And if you're gonna chat, I'll give you a shout out on the chat, guys. So continue to chat for that fight. We'll go ahead and visit it again. Terence Crawford said I'm on a high level right now, and the way I beat people makes seem like they don't belong in the ring with me, and that's true. Amir Khan says he's real confident. Let's put the records on the line and let's go head on, full steel. And again, he's not giving away any weight. Amir Khan. The undercard will feature Teofimo Lopez from New Jersey, I believe. He will fight Idris Tatley. That's going to be a 12-rounder. So in the last one of the podcasts, we talked about Teofimo Lopez when he fought the last time, that his sportsmanship needed to be looked at. Knocking out the guy, starts dancing over him, and I didn't like that at all about Lopez. Lopez was an actual good guy in the amateur ranks, but going to pro, I guess it's got into his head. I don't know. But that's going to be under undercard. And his fighter, there's been bad blood. Idris Tatley says he's coming to fight him, man. Well, we'll see. It'll be, I guess, a true test for Teofimo Lopez to fight. That's going to be on the undercard of the Crawford fight. So, I mean, that's going to be fun to watch. Got a boxing headline as we move right along. The Canelo Jacobs fight is Cinco de Mayo weekend, and we'll talk more a little bit about it as we get closer to it. But just something that I like, one of the fighters that was going to be on the undercard. All right, I like it, but a hand injury has forced him out, so that fight's no longer going to happen. And I'm talking about the hard-hitting David Lemieux. David Lemieux injured his hand in training, and he had to withdraw. He was going to fight John Ryder, also known as the Gorilla. He injured his right hand sparring, and the doctor has recommended that the rest of the 8 weeks before return to the gym. Coaches, let me ask you something. Do you think fighters need to spar that much? I don't know. One of the fighters that never sparred was Martinez from Argentina. The guy never sparred. He just did a lot of shadow boxing, and he was successful. What do you guys think? The co-main event, guys, is still being planned out, and again, it is going to be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Lemieux's a little bit older, 30-year-old of Montreal, Canada. He said he was very disappointed. He wanted to return. I wanted to see him. I like David Lemieux. He's a hard fighter. He comes to fight. But that's one of the highlights right now that the boxing news came in, that he just injured his hand and he would have to withdraw from the fight. So that was, you know what I mean, not good. Adrian Pineda on our live chat said that, what do you think about Ryan Garcia? How is he climbing up fast, and how he keeps calling out Gervonta Davis? Gervonta's Tank Davis. Ryan Garcia is another Benavides, another Lopez, upcoming fighter, another Munguia. I think that Ryan Garcia, he's an excellent fighter, and he's one of my favorites. I think he just got to slow his roll a little bit. I think he's got to be careful. He's got to strategically and tactfully move up on the ranks. He's very good. Gervonta Tank Davis is a fighter. He's good, but you're right, he keeps calling him out, and then people have even said that it's time for Ryan Garcia to get an opponent like Davis. I don't think so. I think Adrian, that Ryan Garcia needs to take his time. I know he keeps calling him out, but I think it's mostly because the money. You know what? That's why he needs to calm down. I think Munguia also needs to take it easy, man. Promoters put these fighters up, and they can damage them, man. They need to relax. Money's coming, and pick the best fights. I know we always said, hey, give us what we want to see. Give the fans we want to see. But at that level, young levels, I think they need to, hey, man, take a step back and just think about what you're doing. When you get old, once you start getting a name for yourself, getting those, you're actually a household name, then you get the bigger fights, and we want to see those fights. But these kids, man, I mean, like Munguia, let me tell you, man, they need to. Again, I believe that Ryan Garcia should not be ready for Tank Davis yet. And Silva said, well, he has not fought any good boxers, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, the kid has potential. The kid has a lot of potential, Silva, a lot of potential. Ryan Garcia has a buttload of potential. Good fighter, man. This kid is good. He's upcoming. But yeah, he hasn't fought nobody. But that's how you start. You fight nobodies, then you get them. But I think 2 more big fights for him, kind of at the decent level. Then he'll be ready for Tank Davis. I don't even know if Gervonta Davis has been ready. I know they've been calling each other out, especially Garcia. But I think a fighter like Munguia and them, I think it's hard to control their emotions and where they're going because of the promoters, the money being up there. They want the big money names. They want to get rich overnight. And I think that's what affects them. And I think it's the job of the promoters to, hey, look, let's think about it. Let's do baby steps. Right? No, they need to do that and not put these fighters in harm's way that quick. They're good, right? Garcia's a very good fighter, but he needs to slow down because there's going to be one fighter that will take him into the canvas. That was a comment by Web Jim Nachito saying that Garcia needs to slow his roll. Adrian Pineda said, totally agree, not yet. He's not yet for Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis can hurt him, so... but I love Ryan Garcia, don't get me wrong. Very good kid, man. Strong, tall kid that is going to be making a name for himself. Just like Munguia, making a name for himself. So that's going to be good. Another news here in fight news, they have named an opponent for Triple G, right? Former unified middleweight champion, Gennady. Triple G Golovkin will make his ring return on June the 8th at Madison Square Garden in New York City. He will face the IBF ranked number 9 middleweight Steve Rolls at a catch weight at 164. Again, that's a tune-up fight for Triple G. Yeah, I've never heard of him either. Who? He's 19-0. He has 10 KOs. He's 35 years of age. He's from Toronto, Canada. Right? I guess we kind of researched this guy, and his biggest name on Rolls' resume is Keandre Leatherwood. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he was featured on Showbox not too long ago. Again, this will be Triple G's first bout. And he has a brand new contract with DAZN, and the tour begins. So it's a tune-up fight for Gennady Golovkin, and we're gonna see like a tune-up fight for Canelo. It's only fair. It's only fair to see these guys get the tune-ups they need. And then the collision course begins. If Canelo beats Jacobs, he needs to fight Triple G. What do you guys think? You think Golovkin winning this fight, which he probably will, we'll get another shot at Canelo, maybe as early as September? 16 de septiembre, the big Mexican holiday. That'll be good to see. Silva said, "Yup, tune-up fight. Promoters trying to cash out on a potential third Canelo fight." Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a third Canelo fight. I think it should happen. I think it was great. Both fights were great. I mean, I enjoyed both fights, guys. The first fight was awesome. Just the outcome. I thought Triple G won. The second fight, Canelo clearly beat him. I think he beat him. I think Canelo stood his ground. He said what he was going to do, and he did it. He stood in the middle of the ring. Guys, I'm not a big Canelo fan, but he stood in the middle of the ring. And going into the Jacobs fight, and I like Jacobs, I think he can beat Jacobs. I think Canelo's going to beat Jacobs. Man, I think so too, man. I think that Canelo can beat Jacobs. So then Canelo wins. Golovkin wins, I'm sorry, and then they fight in September, and we'll want to see the third fight, and that's it. And it'll be fun to watch. I think I'm ready for that. I think it's going to be ready for that fight for the Canelo. So hopefully they get a good co-main event for the Canelo-Jacobs fight. Next week is big fight week as well, as we're approaching Cinco de Mayo weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about it with our co-host. Hopefully they get a co-main event out of it this week. And hopefully it's a good co-main event. And you know what, folks? It's on DAZN, so that's going to be cool. Also, there's going to be an undisputed lightweight title. The WBA, and again, I'm a big fan of these females, man. WBA, IBF, WBO female lightweight champion Katie Taylor, the Triple G of women, will face WBC lightweight champ Delphine Pearson for the undisputed lightweight championship, and that's going to be June the 1st on DAZN in Madison Square Garden. The winner will join current champion Cecilia Brakas, who's one of the best welterweights, and Clarissa Shields as holder of all 4 major belts. So Katie Taylor, guys, will be up there as well. I don't believe that Katie Taylor will ever fight Clarissa Shields unless Clarissa Shields goes down in weight, but that'll be pretty good, man. And that's going to be taking place June the 1st. It's going to be an undercard of a major big fight June the 1st, and that's going to be Anthony Joshua's fight. Anthony Joshua holds the IBF, WBA, and WBO, the alphabet of the belts, world heavyweight, and he's going to defend against Jarrell Miller. That's going to be interesting to see. Also, Katie Taylor, I'm excited to see her. If you've never seen this fighter, she is very exciting fighter to watch. Lethal, just lethal, folks. This fighter is lethal. A very determined fighter. So that's going to be fun to watch. A lot of big fights coming up. So whatever we're talking right now, guys, you're on live chat. Feel free to chime in and let us know. Here's another one that kind of we've been talking about. James Kirkland. Remember the Mandingo Warrior, James Kirkland? Well, guess what, folks? He's planning a comeback. James Kirkland, the last time he fought was Canelo at the Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. James Kirkland right now is 32-2, 28 KOs. He's already 35 years old, and he hasn't fought since 2015. Very aggressive southpaw. He was one of my favorite fighters as far as I like that aggressiveness. Or I'm not going to say favorite, but he was a fighter that I wanted to watch every time he fought. He was just so aggressive, right? And what made him even more special and like to watch was that his former trainer, Ann Wolf, that lady was tough, is tough. If you ever saw her training regimens, man, that was tough. I remember when they used to have like the 24/7 or behind the scenes, or you see these fighters train. Ann Wolf would get in a pickup truck that she welded an A-frame to it with the boxing bag in front, and she would just drive it, and James Kirkland will run miles hitting the bag. Also, she had her training ranch, or the training camp was brutal. James Kirkland living in a shack during training camp. I don't know, no air condition, in the heat of South Texas, East Texas, wherever they were training, Texas heat, and that's the way Kirkland at one point left Ann Wolf for whatever reasons. I bet you it was money reasons. I don't know. She left him, went to go fight Canelo, and got knocked out brutally. Every time, and that's not first time. Every time that Kirkland has left her, he's gotten knocked out silly. Well, guess what? He needs Ann Wolf back. That warrior mentality trainer, in-your-face trainer, is going to be, from what they've said, and according to press release, he's going to be reunited with Ann Wolf. And Ann Wolf is no stranger to the sport of boxing. She was also a great boxer as well, right? So they're going to be reunited as well. So that's going to be fun to watch. And again, I want to see that. That's going to be good. I want to see him again. That's going to be an interesting card. Interesting when he comes back to fight. And let's see in what condition he is, because when Ann Wolf has him, he comes in the best condition possible ever to get in that ring. So I just wish she would have had Ann Wolf when he fought Canelo Alvarez. It was brutal, man. He got knocked out, and that's been like one of the main knockouts. He even made the 2015 knockout of the year, I believe. It was brutal. It was pretty bad. So nevertheless, he will be returning to the ring. We'll see when he's going to be returning to the ring to see that. Stay tuned to watch on that. So like I said, folks, A lot of news coming in right now from the boxing world. Here's another one. Burchett, ready for war. Remember the Alacran, the WBC super featherweight champion Miguel Burchett Alacran has completed his preparation stage. Training camp was in Hermosillo. He's ready to face former champ Francisco El Bandido Vargas. I met this kid here in El Paso. Great kid. He's 25-1. They will face May 11th, just right around the corner here in Tucson, Arizona. He won the belt in 2017, knocking out the unbeaten Vargas. I mean, Burchett is a monster. And in 2017, he knocked him out. Burchett Alacran knocked out Vargas in the 11th round. That was a hard-hitting knockout, but he knocked him out. And now the rematch, right? And again, the rematch comes mentally prepared for both of them, ready to take action, right? As far as the Alacran, he says he's in the best condition of his career, right? And he says he's prepared for 12 rounds. He's the first fight with Vargas is very hard, but we'll enter the ring 100%. And Burchett comes 100%, guys. Very, very trained, very well trained guy, and he's not going to be. He won't disappoint. He was not going to disappoint the fight fans. Again on May 11th, that's around the corner as well. And when they say it's a war, believe me, folks, it is going to be a war. Just an outstanding individual as well. We talked about the undercard of the Katie Taylor, not the undercard, the main card was going to be Anthony Joshua and Gerald Miller. Well, Gerald Miller is the big baby, and I know his license was revoked. So I don't know if that fight, just again to go back on that, his license was revoked. He said it's devastating that his boxing has been revoked. Again, he tested positive for a banned substance, and he said he knew nothing about. And that's going to be that puts in jeopardy the Anthony Joshua fight, right? He says that my team tested I was very happy to do, and the results came out just 1 week after another volunteer test I had taken, which was complete clean. I refused to lie. I've done nothing wrong. And they said, remember, don't believe anything they say. Folks, that just brings me to a topic. What do you think about sports enhancement drugs? Do you think fighters should be taking them, or what should they be taking or not? Remember the Canelo incident, tainted meat. Now it's Jarrell Miller. That's gonna really hinder that Anthony Joshua fight. It hindered the Canelo fight, first appearance with Gennady Golovkin, and then they both went their separate ways, and then we finally got the second fight. But what is your take on that? I mean, do you think that they know about it? Do you think that the meat that they're eating, they don't know about it? I don't know. I mean, these fighters have millions of dollars and have their own chefs, and they can afford to fly their own chefs wherever they want, and they pretty much can eat whatever they want, of course. And then they do volunteer tests, and they come out dirty. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a topic, folks, that I'm going to have in the future podcast about sports enhancing drugs, which is it's good to talk about. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, man, that's tough, man. I mean, puts in a lot of money lost if that fight doesn't go. Man, it's pretty devastating for both sides, promotions, fans, and all that. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll stay tuned with that, and we'll keep our eyes peeled for that as well. In that topic, right? I mean, it's it's a hot topic, and I want to bring in the future podcast. We'll bring in we'll bring in doctors and people that know about these sports enhancing drugs, or what is their take as officials or whatever. Should they be banned or not be banned? That'll be in my future. DJ Vasquez listening to the show tonight says, you know how I feel about supplements. They don't work. And I think he means David Pena, DP. Supplements don't work. But nevertheless, DJ, they might need supplements. Just imagine, man, these are athletes. They're not just Joe Blows fighting once a year or two times a year. These are actually professional athletes that's their job 100% of the time. They use it all the time. Do they need some type of chemical substance, drugs, to help them go throughout the day, recover their muscles? I mean, us as Joe Blows, we go run, and I ran 4.5 miles this morning, and I'm hurting right now. I'm not going to take a sports enhancing drug, but these athletes, just let's talk about like baseball. These pitchers pitching a baseball all day. Practice. They game. They play. Some pitchers throw 80 throws a game, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Closers pitch every day sometimes, and their body takes a toll. They must take something to recover those muscles for the next day. It's just not an organic solution that's going to get them and ready to go. And then they make millions, and people are paying to see these guys and promoters. So I don't know. I'm not for it or against it, but it's just a good point to talk about in the boxing world. What can the athletes take? If not, is it called cheating? What is it? I mean, a lot of folks take energy drinks. Is that cheating? Gatorades, is that an advantage over the athletes that take regular water? Adrian Pineda just put, I believe in pro athletes using PEDs, but not regular Joes. I believe in the pro athletes using sports enhancing drugs, but not regular Joes. Why not regular Joes? So the regular Joes should not use PEDs or pro athletes should use them. You believe in it, Adrian, because why? Why do you believe that the athletes should be taking these or why do you believe that they should be taking these? I'm not going to say illegal, but I guess it's illegal in the sport. These type of enhancing drugs, or should they come up? These pharmaceutical companies, or should they come up with something that they're allowed to take? I don't know. It's a drug. I remember in the major leagues, the drug was tobacco, and everybody chewed tobacco. I don't know if they still do. Silva said, if it's justifiable, I agree with you. For recovery purposes, any athlete should be allowed to take supplements. What kind of supplements? Right? Remember there's a great Netflix film, documentary on Lance Armstrong, the way he was using stuff like that. But I think that went overboard. And these athletes put their bodies through hell every day, and they make a living. So yeah, I think there should be something out there. But you know what? I guess it's different in boxing because you can hurt somebody pretty bad. So what's an advantage to a fighter? What is an advantage? What is not an advantage? I clearly believe that cheaters don't belong in our sports, and one that comes to mind is Margarito. Antonio Margarito, when he loaded his wraps, that's illegal. Are there officials in the weight rooms watching? Yeah, when I had the pleasure to go to a pro fight, and I had sat in the corner of the opposing opponent, and I saw them wrap, and I was seeing the whole room, and there is officials there seeing if these fighters are doing or drinking or whatever it is. One of our fighters was drinking Herbalife, and they questioned him. What about in the amateur world? Do our officials have a due diligence? Do our officials, our LBC, have a responsibility to have our fighters be checked, or every fighter be checked if their wraps are loaded or wet? I know they go to the gloving table, and the official there at the gloving table just pretty much checks the wraps, make sure they're wrapped, but are they actually checking if they're wrapped, if they're loaded? What safeguard do our kids have? Do our kids have a safeguard? Man, there's some good topics here. Do our kids have it? I've never seen it. I don't know if it's required, and I don't think it's required, or else I don't think it's required. I think, or else we would have seen it more. But is that something that we should have in our sport? In an amateur world, when you have 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds 16-year-olds, these young amateurs, even though they have headgear, are they being watched? Are we watching our kids? That our coaches are not loading wraps, or are they allowed to wet the wrap and then it gets hard? I guess an interesting topic, man. I don't know. I mean, is that happening in our sport right now in the amateur world? I know in the pro, like I said, they go in there and they watch, and I know they have drug tests right after the fight. You take a urine test, and boom, there it is. But that's at the pro level, and I think it's warranted, guys. I think it's needed. But if you agree with these athletes to take something, what is it that do you think they can take? And at what level or amounts? Because it's a boxing sport, and they can really hurt the next person. I don't think I would want Lomachenko with any type of enhancing vitamin or drug. Man, after he did that lethal shot, man, it was bad. I hope Corolla's all right. We're gonna keep up to par to see how's he been doing, but it was bad. So now just imagine enhancing that and having a shot like that. It's already dangerous as it is, and having some type of enhancing drug is bad. But I guess they are checking. But I guess the question here is, are amateur kids being checked? Is that something we need to look at? Put somebody there in the backdrop, another job, another assignment, and checking these kids or the coaches and seeing if they're doing that. I don't know. Is it happening? Is it good to have or not good to have? Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. I don't know. It's something that we clearly need to ask the local boxing commission if that's being happened, and if it's not, why? And I don't know. That's something that food for thought. And talking about our local boxing commission, guys, as we move right along we're talking about amateur now, is this past weekend at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office training facility, that was the host. And I want to thank also the El Paso County Sheriff's Officers Association for being out there and supporting us as they sold goods. And the Sheriff's Office Association, folks, is a union for the law enforcement, the men and women of law enforcement of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. El Paso PD also has its own union, and these unions are out there to support the public as well. They're out there. They want to be out in the community to help. They help the officers. There's pros and cons to everything, but they're out there helping out, and they're visible. They want to lend a lending hand, and also they want to be part of the growth of youth sports. So my hats off goes to our president, Peter Ferroni, of the El Paso County Sheriff's Officers Association, as his mission also is not only to help the members of our agency, but also help the community, and he's out there to help, and they support our youth, and of course they also want to support our local boxing commission. So we want to give thanks to them. So this past weekend, great show at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. It was an event being put by the local boxing commission, also known as Local Boxing Commission USA Boxing. Our president, Hector Espinosa, our treasurer, Frank from Alpine, Texas, and his team and his kids. All the officials that were there, our head of officials, Andres Lamanasgiano, all those guys, they put a lot of time into it. And, when you go and see these shows, guys, but you go in there, you get your kid going, and it's going, fight's over, and you leave. But there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes to this. We were there as a hosting agency, so we open early for them. They come in, and they start putting the ring, and it's only like 2 kids. Yeah, that's it. 2 kids get in there, and the ring is pretty hard with the metal and steel, and they start installing it, and it doesn't take them 5 minutes, it takes them hours. So they go in there in other hours, they get it ready behind the scenes. Now take note that even before that, matches have been made. The next morning, they're up at 7. They're in the weight area, which it was held also again at the academy. They're there early, making sure that the kids are weighed properly, matched up. Then they leave, they come back, the doctor's there, they get the physicals out of the way, and the show starts. So with that said, I just want to thank all the local boxing commission, the people that make it happen, the officials, the refs, the doctor, anybody that takes hand into that to put the shows. You know what, guys? I know we can't compete with bigger cities, but we're moving forward and we're making progress in doing that. But you know what, guys? I think it could be a little bit better if we all cooperated a little bit more and helped out a little bit more. I mean, whatever we can, you know. But my hats off goes to them to preparing the venue, the ring. And again, it's not going to be the last time that we host an event there. They're always welcome there. So again, I would just want to say hello to everybody there and congratulate on a great show. I think there was 16 fights. To all the winners, to all the runner-ups, great show, folks. That's going to catapult us to the Junior Olympics coming up, the JOs. That's coming up next week, the April the 27th. The site is pending. Go out there and support. Without your support, guys, we cannot grow. So I know there's more events to come. So go out there and support, guys. And if anything helps, anything helps, man. So again, it was a great show. Thanking everybody out there that joined us. And with that said, guys, I'm closing the show. We have a big show. We have more big shows coming, more guests. I'm going to bring more LBC people. I'm going to bring officials to ask them the questions. On the next show, we're going to have, we want to bring up a segment called coaching. And it's a good segment, guys. It's a good information. As if you're an athlete, a parent, or an actual coach, what it takes to be a good coach, the qualities and skill tests that make for a good coach, and just acknowledge how difficult it is to be a coach, because you're highly visible. It's a highly visible position, just like being an owner, being the president, being in charge of something. It's a highly visible position like a coach, right? And it exposes you to scrutiny. And not just scrutiny, it exposes you to an evaluation. It's one of those professions where the general public regularly weighs in on what kind of job they think you're doing, whether you want their evaluation or not. They're going to give it to you. Fire the coach. We're not winning. Oh, that coach sucks. Kids are not fighting properly, right? It's tough. It's one of those jobs where your professional effectiveness is almost always narrowly measured by something that is very often totally out of your control, winning or losing. So that's going to be what we're talking about, and the reason why I want to get more into it, but I'll get into it when I have a coach in front of me, so we can discuss it with them. So we got more shows coming up, bigger shows, guys, as we go tomorrow and get ready for the next episode. We want to interview the best of the best, and like I say, I don't want to reveal our future guests, but it's a surprise. We got some big guests coming up, professional. The best of the best is coming up here at Web Podcast 101. We also like to give a big shout out, and don't forget it's racing season for us. Brandon Shore, the driver of the number 21 at the Sprints car, the American Sprint Car Series number 21, being sponsored by Western Technical Institute and Western Technical College, and Warriors Edge Boxing. Well, folks, this has been our show. Enjoy your fight weekend. Big fight weekend on this holy weekend. Enjoy your Easter with your kids. Enjoy the fights with your family. Folks, just stay positive, man, and have a great weekend. Stay safe, my friends. This has been my podcast from Warriors Edge Boxing, Mi Casa, Su Casa. And like I've always said, whatever you do in life, put God first. Have a great weekend.